Welcome to String Band Sessions podcast. In this episode of Concept to Creation, we'll be talking to Quaker City String Band and Durning String Band. So let's welcome Vice President and Theme Committee Chairman Gary Pisarek and Presentation Director Steve Palys from the Durning String Band. Thank you, guys. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Jim.
Thanks
Thanks for allowing us to be your guest.
Oh, yes. Well, that's a little preview. So, Steve, tell us, how long have you been with Durning and how long have you been in your current role?
All right, so I've been with the Durning String Band for 4 years. This is my first year as presentation director. Overall history, I've got 40 years in the mummers in the string band division.
What other string bands were you in?
Ooh, I started out in Harrogate back in the mid-'80s.
Really?
Yep, I was there for the buyout merger of the Uptown Charter.
Okay.
From there, I went to the Crean String Band. I was in the Overbrook String Band, Durning String Band.
What year were you in the Overbrook String Band?
That was 2007, 8, 9, 10,
Okay.
and 11.
More recently.
Yep.
I had 1 year. Most people don't know it because most people associate me completely, exclusively with Hegeman, where I was bell player.
Oh.
But I was in Overbrook for 1 year, 1980.
Learn something new every day.
You
There
learn
you go.
something new every day.
This is true.
Do you have other family in Durning or in other string bands?
Yes, my son has been in Durning for 10 years. He's the bass drum player. My wife is currently in another organizational with my stepkids.
Oh, what instrument do you play, Steve?
Banjo.
Banjo. And did you play banjo in the other bands that you mentioned?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And Gary, so how long have you been with Durning?
I'm going into my 5th year with Durning.
Okay. And previously?
Previously, I started with the now defunct Juniata String Band.
Okay.
In 1980.
Wow.
And I had stints with Polish American, Verco, and now with Durning.
Great. And what instrument?
Banjo as well.
Banjo as well. And other family?
My daughter, Carrie, is an accordion player and a percussionist with Durning.
Okay.
With us, so I get the excitement of getting to march with her all the time.
Yeah.
And I actually found out an interesting fact not too long ago, about a year ago. I found out that cousins of mine were original members of Durning when they first started in 1935.
Really?
Yes, I didn't know. I knew they were in Aqua, and I believe they were in Aqua when Aqua first started, but I did not know they were original members.
So that there was that legacy
Yes.
back in time. So it's interesting because the bands have changed and progressed over time.
Yeah.
So for so long, we would talk about almost exclusively, grandfather, father, son, uncle, brother, but now we can say father and daughter.
Absolutely.
We can say father and daughter, which is
Yes.
great. So let's talk a little bit about the background and the history. Durning String Band has, a lengthy, illustrious history. It is the 90th, the 90th anniversary, as your shirt indicates, the 90th anniversary of the band. So we were talking a little bit before we got started about how the band came to be named the Durning String Band.
Durning actually started off as 48th Ward, and they were 48th Ward up until the 1943 parade. James Durning had a son who he went missing in action during World War II. So the band decided to rename the band after his son who went missing in action. So from 1943 on, they were known as the James Durning String Band.
The James Durning String Band.
A lot of people think it's after Jim Durning, the founder, but
It's after the sun.
After the
It's
sun.
after the sun. So what are we doing to celebrate the 90th? What are we doing to celebrate this milestone?
we have a big gala planned September 26th. We're inviting all of our current members, all of our past members, members of the Garden State String Band who we merged with back in 1989, and anybody that wants to come, any well-wishers, fans, anybody. We're having a big gala on September 26th.
You led right into my next question or my next topic, which was the Garden State Durning relationship. So you mentioned you mentioned that happened. So for people who don't know the history of this, so there's a Philadelphia Mummers String Band Association, and there were bands that were outside of that association, many of them over the decades. And there were, at different points in time, a non-association string band wanted to be part of the association, so that would affect some sort of, purchase of a charter or a merger. So you mentioned the Garden State relationship, and when did that happen?
That happened in 1989.
Okay.
So Garden State merged with Durning, and then their first year up the street was 1989.
1989. Are there still any members of the Garden State String Band that are at least affiliated?
We have quite a few.
Really?
Yeah. We have one gentleman, Yak, who I believe is in his mid-70s, still going up the street with us, and he was a member of Garden State. Our drummer, Bobby Martinelli, quite a few people that were in Garden State. Rich Marlowe, he was the music director before Steve. So yeah, there's still quite a few. Drill director.
Drill director.
Sorry, apologize.
Drill director.
You guys are all the same.
And so did the band take over location-wise where Garden State was, or was it the opposite? Like, where is the band headquartered?
The band went originally to where Garden State was headquartered on Hudson Street in Gloucester City. There was a whole big history that went on with that, and the club was actually it was declared unfit, so they had to find a new home. They went to a couple different spots, but now we settled on right back in Gloucester City.
Oh, you are in Gloucester City.
Where the Garden State String Band was originally located, and we're at 218 South King Street in Gloucester City.
In Gloucester City. Okay, so concept to creation is our topic for tonight.
Okay.
So the concept is be our guest. That's the concept. I can hold up the Lumiere at that moment. So that feeds right into my questions about that. So in terms of this concept sort of being done before, at least with this title, Hageman actually did Be Our Guest 25 years ago. It was not a Beauty and the Beast traditional
cooking and chefs, I believe
traditional
it was.
theme. It was more food oriented. So what's the direction for this one, Steve? Is it Beauty and the Beast?
It's Beauty and the Beast. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
But Beauty and the Beast, but let's say it's outside the box.
Right.
Okay.
When it was first brought up, we were originally going to do, the traditional story of Beauty and the Beast. And as we talked and went along, we decided to go a different way.
Okay.
So it's Beauty and the Beast outside the box.
So is it that that scene? So the scene in the movie, Beauty and the Beast, the Be Our Guest song, where the everything kind of comes alive, the dishes, the plates, everything comes alive when Belle is the guest, when she's their guest for dinner.
That's a good idea, Jim, and I'm going to take that back to the theme committee and discuss that and see if we want to do that.
But is that part of it? You said a different direction.
Possibly.
Okay.
Possibly. We don't want to give too much away, but
Yeah,
it's definitely what our hope is, that when you look at it, it's you're going to realize that it's Beauty and the Beast, but it's a different take on Beauty and the Beast.
Okay. So musically, will it draw from the soundtrack, from the Broadway recordings, for the music, for the songs?
When
as
we
well?
were getting everything together, we like to do our research. I'm sure like every other band does, and we looked at the only other band that we could find that did Beauty and the Beast theme was Duffy. Of course, we looked at their performance. We looked at the movie, both the animated movie and the live action movie, Broadway musicals, which you can now bring up on YouTube.
Yes.
There's actually videos of TV shows and things like that. So
Yeah,
we
there's a
tried to
lot
do
of
our due diligence.
Yeah, there's a lot of material
There's a lot of ideas.
to draw from. So who designs the costumes for your band?
The design of the sketches that we got were from Sean Grazer. So Sean's been working with us as far as costuming goes.
Okay. And who crafts the costumes? Who makes the costumes?
We're going to say that's out of the box as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
Going a different,
We're going a different route this year.
yes,
okay.
different angle.
Yeah. So that's
Okay.
kind of out of the box as well.
Okay. We need to get back in the box, but okay.
Understood.
I see where you're heading. I see where you're heading because there've been there have been bands recently in the past handful of years that have gone a different sort of non-traditional mummers route in terms of both designing and actually manufacturing or let's say acquiring
Right,
their
right,
costumes.
Being a smaller band, a lot of bands, get their suits made from costumers. Some bands will buy their suits off of
Brigades, of course.
Being a smaller band, we don't really, sometimes we can't go that route, so sometimes we have to think outside the box.
Outside the box, yeah.
Which is getting to be a theme here.
We will get in. We will get in that box. So visually, so sets, props, those kinds of things, which this just screams out.
Yes.
Yeah, there needs to be that colorful, powerful, imagery because people are familiar with the story. Even though you're saying it's going to be a somewhat different direction, people still have imagery in their minds that goes along with this. So is that internal? Do you do all these things internally yourself? Do you create the props and the sets and
Yes.
paint them
yeah,
and do everything?
We have a Durning prop team, which is our local 218,
Mm-hmm.
only at South King Street.
Okay.
So those guys do an awesome job, as you've seen in years past. But yes, everything is done by our team.
Okay. And how about choreography? How about choreography?
Choreography, we work with Michelle Villaranga, who is with the Ronnie McLaughlin Dance School, which is located in Pennsauken. So she's been our choreographer for a number of years, and she just won world champions. She won second prize with her team in the world champions, which we're very proud of her.
Yeah,
Go
I would
Michelle.
think you would be. You should be. And who writes the score?
Franny Kerr.
Writes the score.
Yep, Franny Kerr is our arranger.
So how timeline wise? So how far along are we? How much of the music has Fran provided so far?
We were just calculating the other night, we're about 2.5 minutes in.
Okay.
So,
So the band's already
oh yes,
rehearsing.
yeah, they've had it, I'm going to say the end of June.
Okay.
Yeah, the end of June.
And how's it going?
It's going.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going. It's good to have it early. You could take a slower process, I think, with it. But yeah,
It also,
it's good to have it early.
yeah, it also gives you the opportunity to
Change.
to make a change. Because I've talked, if you've seen the other episodes, I've talked about this with others as well, that the string band 4.5 minute score, now we call it a score.
Right.
A score today has so many different elements to it. The transitions are an element. Using music to introduce something or take something away or hide something or whatever.
Right.
So I absolutely respect and admire the music arrangers today. I mean, when I was in a string band way back when, it was a much simpler, much more straightforward. It was like 4 or 5 songs.
Right.
And, there weren't a lot of transitions. It was 4 or 5 songs.
Right.
And the show was put together based around that. Now you've got all these little, pieces,
Exactly.
pieces of music, 8 bars of music, 16 bars of music that is there for a purpose.
Right.
And whatever the, intentions.
Transition to a new scene. It's a transition to a feature. It's transition to a prop moving.
Yes, yes,
So
yes, all of that.
Multiple things.
So are we going with Be Our Guest as the title? Is that going to be the title, you think?
As of right now, that's the working title, and we haven't really decided, but we're thinking more than likely that's going to be.
What's the energy? Because you have as we've talked about, you have a diverse band, male and female, members of the band. It's a nice mix. So what's the energy around this particular idea? Is the band like really energized and excited?
I think everybody's really excited about it. We've had people come up to us and say that's their favorite Disney movie, and they're so excited to do it, and they love all the music. So the members are generally excited. We did have one member, and I won't mention his name, but when we submitted the theme, he texted me and he said, "All right, I get the theme, but what's with Be Our Guest?" And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, what's that have to do with Beauty and the Beast?" I said, "Well, that's the main song in Beauty and the Beast." He said, "I did not know that." And we've been playing it. It's been on our books for years.
Did you say, have you seen Beauty and the
So
Beast?
apparently, no, he has not seen Beauty and the Beast.
So can I say, might this be Joe Pamonte?
You could
Captain,
say that. I don't
could
know
say
whether
it.
it would
Right.
be true
Might
or
not-
not.
it
but
might
you
not
could
be
say
true.
that. I mean, if you want to call him Little Osty for now, we can do that.
Well, I love that you brought visual aid. I love that you brought a prop. And I just want to say thank you, Steve. Thank you, Gary, for joining us for the String Band Sessions podcast.
Our pleasure.
Thank
Jim.
you for having
Thank
us.
you.
And that is Steve and Gary from Durning String Band. I am thrilled to welcome Chris Roetz. Chris is the Executive Vice President and the Theme Chairman for the Quaker City String Band. Chris, so thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you, Jim.
How long have you been with Quaker City?
So I've been around Quaker City since I was born. I've always been a part of it. Officially been a member for 11 years. This will be my 12th coming up. And this is my first year in the role of Executive Vice President. I've recently took over for Sammy Rags. It's been very exciting, a lot to learn with it, but it's just been a lot of fun so far.
I don't know whether to say Sam's not in the room right now, so I don't know whether to say those are big shoes to fill or small shoes to fill, but I'll say big shoes,
very big shoes,
to fill. So, what instrument did you play in the band?
I play bass fiddle.
And do you still?
Yes, I still play.
You still play? Okay. And did you always play that instrument from the
Yeah.
time you were, introduced into the band?
Yeah, I've always played. I'm self-taught. Right after New Year's Day 2014, I started teaching myself, and then took my test not long after that. Fortunate to be picked because I didn't make a suit. So I got picked for a suit, and then I was in a costume from 2015 to now. I haven't missed one since.
To now. So you're new in this role, which you said. But let's just for a minute, when I've been talking to all the bands, family, of course, is so important to all the mummers groups and the string bands, of course, in particular. So tell me a little bit about the other members of your family that have been part of Quaker City.
Yeah, so my grandfather, he joined Quaker City, I think it was around 72 or 73. They were in Overbrook, and they came over here with my dad. Mm-hmm. Then my dad joined in the 70s. He was in it still in it forever. Very successful in the Hall of Fame. He was drill master and then captain from 2009 to 2013.
And just so we know, that's Charlie Roetz. That's Charlie Roetz.
That is him. And then we have my brother, also Charlie Roetz. He was drill master from 2017 and just recently stepped down this year. So it's been such a family event. We've been in it forever. You're born into it, and then the first New Year's Day, you're watching it on TV, and then you can't wait to get out there. Then you get out there, and it's even better than what you expected, and then you can't wait to get in costume, and then when you're in costume, it's just
And then all of a sudden. So was there a year where your dad, your brother, and yourself were all in the band? Were all marching in the band?
We've
together?
never, not on New Year's Day. My dad and my brother did. My dad, when he stopped being captain in 2013, my brother was still taking a suit, but I didn't get a suit until 2015.
Okay.
So we've done a couple parades all together, all playing. I've played bass, they've been on drums, or we all play the same instrument. We all play bass and drums, so we'll kind of rotate around on different jobs. But it's one thing that never happened for all of us to be together, but we've still had plenty of chances to pray together and really enjoyed that.
Well, and you're definitely all together in terms of supporting and being part of the Quaker City family.
Yeah.
And we probably should say, I think you were telling me before we started talking, something like over 30 members of Quaker City have relationships, are
They're
related.
I'm not sure the exact number. I believe it's over 30 father-son combinations in the band. Quaker City's all about family, and it always has been. And it's something that we always talk about. There's a lot of guys right now that are having kids. So we're saying, in 15 years, we're going to have a whole nother
Yeah.
row of
It's
kids coming in playing instruments.
another generation. So Quaker City String Band's one of the oldest string bands, been around for a very long time, and currently has the record as the winningest string band, which is that's a pretty important mantle,
Yeah.
to be carrying. So let people know, where's the band headquartered?
So we're headquartered on the corner of 3rd and McKean in South Philly. It's a great spot. It's right past where 2nd Street kind of turns into 3rd Street. So we're still kind of on 2nd, but technically 3rd.
Technically 3rd. I probably should know this, but I don't. Was it always there? Was the club always there, as far as you know?
As far as I know, I probably should have looked into that. We've been there for a very long time. I'm not sure off the top of my head, but
And I know the club has gone. It's been remodeled
Yeah.
and updated. So
yeah, we're still sort of in our renovation
in
phase.
the renovation phase. Renovations never end.
Yeah.
Renovations never end. The band tied with South Philadelphia String Band on January 1st, 2025. This word gets thrown around a lot, but it tells the story. Unprecedented.
Yes.
So it was unprecedented. And 124 years, there'd never been a tie for first place. So what does that mean? That means for the first time ever, we have two champions, two reigning champions wanting to be the champion for 2026. And of course, 12 other bands that want neither band to be the champion for 2026. So let's make the transition now. This podcast is about concept to creation. So we're talking about the general idea that the band is working with and how it's going to be transformed into what we see on January 1st, 2026. So Funhouse, I don't think literally by itself that's ever been done before. Probably elements of that kind of thing maybe have been done, but not, in and of itself. So why did the band choose this for 2026? Were there a lot of other ideas? But I guess most importantly, why does the band feel like, okay, this is going to be the theme that's going to break this juggernaut of this tie and have Quaker City be the champion?
Well, we knew this year coming off of a tie. I mean, it's the first time for Quaker City's tied in a long time, but obviously for first place, it's the first time. So we really wanted to pick a theme that was very strong. You knew there's a lot of music with it. Show-wise, it's very bright, colorful. It's right in our alley at Quaker City. We do really good with colorful and bright and things we can laugh with and be funny. So when we start talking about themes in January, we've had a good amount. We talk about ones in the past, and we'll say, all right, well, why didn't these make the cut? What's wrong? Have we developed them a little more? Where are we at? And then we'll have people come in, present. Anyone open to the band, anyone can come in. Our theme committee will talk about it. So we had some people come in. They start talking about this Funhouse thing, and it is a different approach. I like to saying every story's been told, but it's never been told by you. So this was something that was very different, the way we're looking at it and what we want to do with it. It's not your typical carnival. It's not clown straight up. It's some of those elements, but it's different for us, and it's going to be different for how you see it and the route that we're going with it. So
what do you hope the the audience, the fans, the judges, what do you hope they're going to take away? So what are you putting into this that you feel like is going to resonate with the judges and with the audience?
Well, hopefully they see a lot of. The idea is that we want to bring you into a funhouse and see what's kind of the craziness that goes on in there. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of different rooms, a lot of different characters that you can see in a funhouse. So we're hoping that the judges will see the humor that comes with it. There's also a lot of fun that goes on, a lot of craziness. So there's going to be a lot of chaos that happens with it.
So is there a storyline? Are we telling a story?
Yeah, we are. We have a story laid out so far. We really like where we are. It kind of helps. I think it's always good to have a storyline. It doesn't have to be something that's very elaborate, but something that helps push your show and it gives you a sense of direction. So you know where you don't go too far off the rails one way or the other.
Right.
And we can kind of stay in our straight path.
Right. So I know in last week's episode, I talked with Freilinger, and we talked about the fact that their original concept, their original theme, was a theme park, and there was some, consideration or thought about that there might be overlap, that there might be something that would need to be, compromised one way or the other. So they ended up, switching their theme. So in terms of this specifically, so are we thinking about it from the standpoint of it like it being, kind of a theme park or an amusement park, or are we visiting that kind of situation? Are we thinking about including like illusion, magic? What other kind? I mean, we all have sort of an idea of, we've been to a theme park, we've been to the Funhouse. I always think, in my head, when I think of Funhouse, I think of the final scene. Maybe this is something that's incorporated. I think of the final scene from Grease, from the movie Grease, where Olivia Newton-John and John Travolta are kind of going through the Funhouse, walking through the Funhouse. So what kind of those kinds of elements are you thinking about? Are you inspired by Broadway, films, TV? Because this concept, I think, there's a lot of ways it could be inspired from that.
Yeah. So we're not really going to, I guess it's like we're going to a theme park. You're not going to see the rest of the theme park. All you're going to see is the Funhouse. So I don't think there was really any discrepancy with Fraunger and their original theme park theme and where we're going with it. It was going to be very different in a sense. A lot of people, I think you hear theme park and you think, oh, it's going to be a carnival. They're going to do all the carnival things. And we have some of those elements, but it's not going to be like a carnival theme you've seen before. It's going to be very different based off of our story. So it's hard. A Funhouse is a controlled environment. Same with Broadway or a movie or something like that. So a lot of illusions, and this is where it gets tricky because illusion has you looking exactly where you need to look. It has the right lighting and everything like that. So being outside in 35-degree weather with a lot of lights, a lot of different angles on things, it's very hard to see what's going to work. And then you have the wind that you don't know what you're going to get. So
Right. That makes sense. I mean, I'm thinking about, Quaker City won a couple of years ago with the monster movie Mayhem, and there were certainly elements, illusion and humor and elements of that. That had to be sort of navigated, as you were saying. So Jimmy Good is the captain of the band and has, been very successful portraying all different types of characters and character roles. So are we kind of carrying that forward? Is he going to, have a character role in this as well?
Yeah, we're going to continue with the character. For Jimmy, it's very easy for him, and he always says this, that when he gets a character and we give him that, he'll go home and he'll study and watch and do everything he can to figure out how to become that character. And he's very good at it. And I like the one time when we finally realized that was when we did our Fiddling with Tradition in 2018 theme. He became Tevye.
Tevye.
He watched Fiddler on the Roof, and he was even, there was moments where he said something happened at home, and he was looking up like Tevye does in the movie, and
Yeah.
he was acting like him all
He
the
had
time.
he had the
He had everything,
He had
yeah.
the movements going on.
So that when we figured that out, we just kept rolling with it.
And that's for sure that he, as you said, he has been very successful inhabiting characters and inhabiting a role. Let's talk a little bit about music. So who writes the score? Who writes the score for Quaker?
So John Renega does our score for. He's been doing it since 2023 was his first year.
Okay.
And until now.
Okay. So what kinds, without perhaps saying specific songs, but what's the vibe for this score, do you think?
It's been kind of.
And how far along is it?
Well, so far we're still waiting for our first couple things. We've had a lot going on with our Battle of the Bands that we've been preparing for, so we're just waiting until after that. Then we're going to hit it hard. So, but we're looking at a lot of sort of your typical clown stuff and your carnival for your funny moments, but then you also want the chaotic, and that's where the soundtrack stuff gives you a lot of that craziness and chaotic feeling that the tension's building and rising, and you're waiting for that release, and then that release might happen. Then you might go into something that's more clowny and funny like that. So we're bouncing back and forth between them to see what fits each scene.
Right.
But it's like an organic flow that we'll get the beginning, we'll hear how it sounds, we'll see how it matches up with our show. Especially once we start drilling, we can see how it's working. If we're not feeling it, we could change that. And then it doesn't affect the rest of it because that's not solidified on paper yet.
Right. So who took over for your brother as the drill master?
So Matt Farrell is our drill master now.
Okay.
Most people know him as Wally, but I call him Wally. But
Okay. Costume. So Sean Grazer, who's a member of the band,
Yes.
has been designing the costumes for a while now.
Yeah.
Successfully, we should say. So I'm sure again.
he's done our
again
costumes this year.
So visually, I mean, you've mentioned clowns a few times. So visually, are we looking at characters? Are we looking at a character-driven costume visual, or is it more related to the elements of the Funhouse?
I would say it's a little mixture of both. It's mostly character driven. We have a lot of like entertainment characters that you would see. So we've kind of focused with that. And then we have a couple things that help with move some scenes along that are more things you would see in the Funhouse that maybe come to life or something like that.
Okay. So at this point, do we have a working title? I mean, Funhouse, generally speaking,
Yeah.
I'm sure is not going to be the title. But have you been kicking around some ideas for that?
Well, it's funny. The last week we were talking. I was talking with Matt Farrell about it, and he said "Smoke and Mirrors." I said, "I like it. That'll be our working title for so far. We'll just stick with Smoke and Mirrors."
Yeah, that's a good title. And it kind of draws you in. We've been talking about in the interviews that in the old days of string bands, that the title was almost like a throwaway thing.
Yeah.
You tried to make it obvious, but it wasn't particularly like inventive. But now, particularly in the past, I would say maybe like 15 plus years, like the title, like people really think about the title.
Yeah.
Is it clever? Is it a pun? There was that Custer's Last Stand award that a band would get. So I think that. I think part of the general sort of general effect, which is the whole like judging criteria thing, I think the title is part of that. So Smoke and Mirrors, that's cool. Sets, props. So did Sean do the designs for the sets as well, or do you have somebody else that does that?
He'll design occasionally if we really need something. Most of the time we'll do it ourselves in-house. Sammy was very good at it. He would see these visions and these sets in his head, and he would just tell our painter, and they worked very well together, and they would just make it happen, and then you would see everything come to life right in front of you. So we have his name is Chris. He's from he's from around here. He's done a lot of things around here, but he's doing little pencil sketches for us for props, which is a new thing for us. We've always kind of just did it ourselves and would go through it. But this year we're looking for a little more, make it easier on our guys that are building to give us a scale so we can tell what kind of space we're working with. So we don't build a lot of things. We get out there and now we got to tear everything down and
Yeah.
restart because we just don't fit.
For sure. So before we close, so is there, internally, do you think the energy or the attitude or vibe or anything is different this year because of the tie situation from last year? Do you feel like, is there an element of like we really have to like rise above this for this year, or does it not matter?
I think there's definitely more of an edge than usually. Usually coming off of a win, you get a little complacent. And I think that's what you've kind of seen the past couple of years with the back and forth between us and South Philly. It's, we would win and guys would say, well, we know what we're doing. We can just cruise through this. Everything's great. And then at the end, everything starts to get backed up, and then it just doesn't happen on New Year's Day. So I think this year now, because we've won, but now we also have to try and stop a three-peat from happening. So there's also that edge to it.
Yeah.
So there's more. It feels more like getting second again. I would say the overall vibe is how it's being treated, which is a good thing because now we did win, and now everyone's working with that edge that we got to come back even stronger this time
For this year, for 2026. So thank you so much, Chris,
thank you.
for joining us. That's Chris Roetz from Quaker City String Band. Thanks for watching the String Band Sessions podcast. Let us know what you think in the comments.